This video is going to introduce us to polynomials and learn how to classify polynomials based on the degrees and the number of terms it consists. So a couple items to take care of first. A term is just a group of numbers and or letters. So that could be one number, it could be one number and one letter, it could be a multitude of letters, but a term is always separated by plus and minus signs. So that will determine how many terms you have in there. So an example of x plus 4 is two terms. I have a group of letters and a group of numbers. I could do 4xy, which is one term because they're all combined. There's no plus or minus signs in between. So that's what they mean by terms. Now, types of terms, you can have a monomial, you could have a binomial, you could have a trinomial, and all these are polynomials. A specific term name, a specific number of types of terms. So a monomial means you have one term, one group of numbers and or letters. Binomial means you have two groups. So if you have two groups, that means there's a plus or a minus sign in between the two groups. A trinomial has three terms. That means there's a combination, there's a total of two plus or minus signs involved. And a polynomial, we would just use the term polynomial for four or more terms. But for specific ones, that's one, two, or three terms, you would use monomial, binomial, and trinomial. Now, when you're talking about degrees of a monomial, so a degree of a one term, you would add all the exponents of that one monomial. For a degree of a polynomial, you're going to add, it's the term with the largest sum of exponents. So you're going to take each term and you're going to add all the exponents of that one term. And when you do that for each one, whatever term has the biggest degree, that's the degree of the whole polynomial. And then we will look at leading coefficients. The leading coefficient is the coefficient of the largest degree term. So the degrees also have specific names. So a degree of 0 is considered constant. A degree of 1 is linear, so it's a straight line. So that's an example. Let me put an example for each one. So a constant would be like a number. So if I said 4, that's a constant. It has a degree of 0 because all numbers have a degree of 0. A degree of 1 is linear, so that'd be like saying x. A quadratic would be a degree of 2, so that's like saying x squared. Cubic would be x cubed. Quartic would be x to the 4th. And quintic would be like x to the 5th. And 6 or more degree, they don't have a specific name for it. You can just say the 6th degree polynomial and so forth. So let's take a look at some examples. It says classify each polynomial by degree and number of terms and identify the leading coefficient. So a lot of times I like putting them in order from largest degree to smallest degree. So if I do that, this one would be negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. So this would be in standard form. And then from standard form, it's easier to identify the name of the degree and the number of terms. So the degree has a degree of 2 because my biggest exponent or biggest term has a degree of 2. So that would be a quadratic. And I have 3 terms here. So that'd be a quadratic trinomial. And then the leading coefficients, the coefficient in front of it all would be a negative 3. Example 2. If I put this one in order, so this would be 6 t to the third minus 4t squared plus 10t. This has a degree of 3, so that's cubic. I have 3 terms here, so that's a trinomial. And the leading coefficient, the coefficient at the beginning is 6. And example 3, if I put this one's actually already in standard form. This has a degree of 5, so a degree of 5 would be quintic. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, so this would be a polynomial. And the leading coefficient is a -2. So that's how you can classify polynomials based on degree and number of terms.